Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. My name is Jen and this is Jen's Happy Home. I have a really exciting video to share with you guys today that I've been wanting to make for a long time. If you're not subscribed, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I have so much fun content coming up, especially now coming into the holiday season. I love Halloween and spooky things, and I'm always sharing ghost stories on my channel, lots of creepy things that have happened in my house over the years, but I am also super excited to share some holiday content coming up really soon for Thanksgiving and Christmas and all of the fun things that we have ahead of us. So make sure that you're subscribed. You might notice I'm in a different location today. I'm actually filming in my mom's house because she is away and I am taking care of the dog. And I just needed a nice quiet spot to record because my house is a little bit crazy right now. And I also didn't want to talk about this stuff in my house because it just kind of creeps me out when I talk about my house being haunted and I'm in my house. I don't know. So I thought that today I would do a little story time and talk to you guys about why I bought a haunted house. And if you want to know how I know my house is haunted, you can go ahead and check out the Jen's Haunted Home playlist, and I will share with you there pretty much every story that ever happened in my house that either my family experienced or families prior to us experienced. So you can go over there because there's just too many to talk about right now. So because I have shared so much about the house that I live in, I have had a lot of people reach out to me and ask me how I could possibly stay there or why I actually bought a house that I knew was haunted and decided to reside there with my family. So I'll start off with the backstory. In my childhood, I always had a fascination with old homes and the history of them. I loved touring historic homes and learning about the people that previously lived there, and I also loved going on ghost tours and hearing ghost stories, and it made homes in the neighborhood or different locations that I was traveling way more interesting when there was a ghost story that coincided with it. So when I was little, our family vacations consisted of touring battlefields, touring old beautiful plantations, going to museums, going to antique shows, and shopping in antique stores. Our family belonged to a Civil War reenacting group, so we were able to learn a lot more about the 1800s, and I knew a lot about what they wore because I did wear the corset and the pantaloons, and I had a day dress, and I had a dinner dress, and I had a ballroom gown, and all of the things. So I was always really interested in that time period. So it's not surprising that I developed a love for the history of the people as well as the homes that they resided in that still stand and exist today. I was always most interested in Victorian architecture. I really love the way that beautiful old Victorian homes have all of these gingerbread cutouts and turrets and wood throughout the home, beautiful, very elegant fireplaces that are very well detailed, and there was just so much to love about the Victorian homes that I was lucky enough to tour and explore throughout my childhood. So when I had a home of my own and we were looking to get a bigger house, we decided to look for land and have a house built. But in my mind, I always still wanted it to be Victorian looking. Well, to build a Victorian home new is, number one, incredibly expensive, very difficult, very hard to find somebody to do it, and it will never be even close to purchasing an existing Victorian home. There is really no way that you can recreate that charm, and just the way that people built back then is totally different. I feel like the homes that were built during the Victorian period are very, very well made. The materials that they used are almost indestructible, and it's not something that you can authentically replicate. Also, I sometimes wonder, did I choose the house or did the house choose me? there is a long history of myself and the house and the way that we went about acquiring it. And I do talk about this in more detail in my Jen's Haunted Home playlist. But when I was in my late teens, I would intentionally drive past this house all of the time because I was just so in love with it. It just looked like a big, beautiful dollhouse. And then when I was in my late 20s, I was going through the newspaper one morning and I saw a picture of my home in the newspaper announcing a local house tour. So of course, I really wanted to see what the inside of the house looked like. So me and my mom went on the house tour, and we were in love with that home and the home that I'm in right now, which is directly across the street. And I remember when we left the house tour, the two houses that we could not stop thinking about were mine and hers, the one that she has now, which is crazy. We never in a million years imagined we would end up in these places. But we were in love and in total awe of these two homes, even though mine had ghost stories and they did talk about them during the house tour. My mom's did not. I'll jump ahead about a decade, and I'm in my 30s now, and I was picking up my daughter from preschool. It was a school that I drove to every single day, to and from the school, every day for a couple of years. And ironically, one day I make a wrong turn. Now, imagine that you're driving to work every single day for a long time, day after day, and then one day you make a wrong turn. It really almost makes no sense at all, right? Well, that's what I did, and I didn't know why. As soon as I made the turn, I was kind of really confused. Like, why did I just do that? And I looked to my side as I was driving past the house that I was in love with for all of these years, and I didn't even realize that was the route that I was going because I had not seen the house in many, many, many years at this point. It was not an area of town that I often drove through. I saw a for sale sign and slammed on my brakes and just stopped. And I could not believe that this house that I was in love with for all of these years was for sale. So I quickly drove home and called my husband and told him about it, and here we are. So I just want to talk about my experience now in the house. So when we moved in, there was definitely a fear of the unknown because I came into this house having toured it and hearing all of the ghost stories from the people that lived there at the time. And then in doing research, I found other residents of this house and I reached out to them via email, and I actually was able to acquire some really nice friendships from people who previously lived in the house. But they all had stories, and a lot of them. And the creepy thing was a lot of the stories were very relevant to each other. It seemed that everybody had a very large experience on the first night in the house. I'll leave that video above if you want to see what happened to us the first night that we moved in. So I definitely was fearful of the home when we first moved in, but I was so in awe of the beauty of it and all of the detail and the stained glass windows and the fireplaces, and all of those things were so much more important to me than knowing that the house was haunted. So the more stories that I heard about the house, the more curious I was about the history of it. The local ghost tour that we had, my house was the headliner, okay? So there were all of these stories, and I kind of wanted to either prove them wrong or find out where they were coming from. So I became an avid member of the Historical Society here in my town, and I often went to our local museum, which has all of our town's old newspapers all throughout the 1800s, as well as old photographs, and I was able to find out about my house, the people that resided there from the day that the house was built all the way up until my family. So everybody who was still alive and I was able to reach out to, I did, and I kind of interviewed them and talked about the house with them, those who were willing to do so. Some were very excited to talk about it, others did not want to talk to me at all, which is fine. But I was also able to find out so much information about the original owners of the house. Now, all of the articles in the newspaper were not pleasant. There were some beautiful stories about the couple who built the house, and their wedding was actually on the property of the home, and They talk about their honeymoon and when they had children. So back in the 1800s, everything local that happened in your neighborhood to your neighbors was news. So I was able to find out so much about the family, so much so that I felt like I knew them. And there were some really tragic things that happened in my house. And that kind of helps it all make sense because I know the rooms that people see women in or hear a woman's voice, but then I also know the rooms where somebody hears a man, and I can kind of see and understand where it may be coming from and who it could possibly be, only because I know the history of the house and I know some of the sad things that happen there. I also found out some similarities of my family and the original family who resided in the house in 1895. And the thing that was most interesting to me from what I found was that myself and the original woman of the house share the same birthday. And that just completely floored me when I found out that little tidbit of information. For me, that was actually the verification that I was drawn to the house and I was supposed to be there. I look at the plans from 1895, the original plans of the house. I can almost see exactly what it looked like. I can walk myself through the rooms and visualize what this house may have looked like over 100 years ago. And I often dream of being able to time travel and just see exactly what the decor was and what the wallpaper was, and just being able to see the old butler's pantry that was once there and the staircase that led from our second floor to the kitchen. There's so many little things that have been kind of taken away from the home over the years that I would love to have back, and I would just love to have a sneak peek into the past to see exactly what it looked like. Our family works really hard to bring it back to its authentic self. Over the years, I feel like a lot of the families kind of destroyed the house with white paint and carpet and contemporary wallpaper and cabinetry. And when we came in, our goal was to bring it back. We're trying to bring back the Victorian charm with antiques and furniture that is appropriate to the time, trying to replicate some of the wallpaper that would have been used back then, as well as some of the draperies. And we really try hard to bring it back to what it once was. We stripped a lot of the paint, and we were even able to acquire some of the original furniture which belonged to the original owners of the house, which is crazy, as well as a clock that once was in the house back in 1895. So I'm really excited that I was able to bring all of these things back to the home over the years that we've lived there. So you can see I really just have a love and passion for this house, despite the ghostly encounters that we have experienced over the years. And things certainly have calmed down over the past 15 years that we have lived there. And in our time in this house, we often have previous owners knock on the door and ask if they can come in and see what the house looks like now. I feel like everyone who has ever lived there really has a close connection with the home. Everyone has done their part. Everyone has worked hard in one way or another to try to just keep the house either standing because it is a money pit when you live in an old home, or they brought something to the table in regards to trying to bring it back to what it once was. So everyone's interested to come back and see the interior and see what we have done over the years. And when I say everyone, there were really not that many families who lived in this house in the past over 125 years now. There are, I believe, about 5 families in total, and that includes the original owners and our family. So that's a really long time and a really small number of people that actually lived there. And it's always fun to have people come back in the house and see what it looks like now. And we always welcome them with open arms, because I know if I were ever to move out, I certainly would want to come back and say hello to the house and see what it looks like and what the owners are currently doing. So for us, it's not an inconvenience, and it doesn't bother us when people come to our door and knock, hoping to see the inside of the house, even if it is somebody from the beyond, which is what I feel is the connection with the house and the spirit world. I think that there are so many really strong memories in the house, whether good or bad, that maybe connect them still to the home, where sometimes things happen and we hear things or we see things. But overall, I never have felt threatened, and I don't think anyone in my family is in any type of harm. So for those of you who reach out to me and say, how could you live there? And that's crazy, you should be running. Well, maybe now you can understand just how much we love the home itself and how much we have put into it. And just knowing the people who previously lived there, I feel like I really know a lot of these families. Some I actually do really know, and some I have read enough about and seen enough photographs where I feel like I do have a connection with them, and I can understand their love for the house and all of the memories that still live within it. So that is why I live in a haunted house, and I don't run. I embrace it, and I thoroughly enjoy our home. When I am there, I really do feel warm and cozy, believe it or not. When I am away traveling and I come home, I feel welcome and I feel safe, and my family does as well. So if you listen to all of my ghost stories, just know this: we are safe in our home, and we have never had anything evil or bad happen to us, and I just absolutely love it. And I do feel like there is a strange connection between myself and the house, well beyond my understanding, but I do believe exists, and I do feel that our family is meant to be there. And we take very good care of the home, and we do the best that we can to bring it back to what it once was, and I absolutely love it. I don't know if I will ever leave, and if I do, it certainly will not be because I was pushed out by a ghost. So that's gonna be it for my Jen's story time, or story time with Jen, whatever you want to call it today. I hope that you guys enjoyed just hearing about how I feel about our home and why we continue to stay, and just a little bit of the backstory and our experiences over the years. And of course, if you don't know any of the stories, totally go check out Jen's Haunted Home. I can't promise that the video quality is very well done because it's a really old, they are all really old videos that I did way back in the day, but I think I shared pretty much everything I possibly could about the history of the home and all of the ghost stories and all of the tragedies that happened there. So totally check that out if you want to know more about it. Thank you so much for watching. I thought this was very relevant to share in October. I hope you guys are all having a great October. Halloween is next week already, and I am super excited for that. And that's it. So don't forget to like, subscribe, comment below, all the things to keep me alive here on YouTube. I greatly appreciate you guys watching. If you watched till the end, definitely give this video a thumbs up so I know you made it all the way to the end of the video. And I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.